Today on World of Faceting Machines, we're sitting with Master Kunzite cutter Hizbullah Safi. Hizbullah is an Afghan gem cutter who lives in Peshawar, Pakistan, and has been cutting gemstones for the last 14 years. Afghanistan and Pakistan supply most of the world's kunzite, so the regional cutters have become kunzite cutting specialists. Hizbullah walks us through his technique for cutting this challenging stone. He starts by slicing the gem in order to orient the table along the stone's growth axis, which helps prevent cleavage problems, as well as revealing the best color of the stone. Once he has the stone into two parts, he starts hand preforming on a combination of 180 and 400 grit topper laps. He said that they like to go back and forth between the two grits because if they get cleavage issues, they can use the finer grit to manage it. I've also heard they sometimes use the polishing lap during preforming and cutting to stop the cleavage from opening, and once the cleavage is sealed, they can go back to cutting. Once the preforming is done and he's hand polished the table to double check for inclusions, he's ready to begin faceting. He dops the stones with a combination of super glue and wax onto his wooden dop stick. He centers the girdle and aligns the table completely by eye in the hot wax, and once it's perfect, he's ready to go on. His next step is to create the crown shape. He turns the stone by hand to create the crown angle, and once he's done, he's ready for faceting. He inserts the dop into his custom-made angoora handpiece. This is a simple handpiece that doesn't have any indexes or angle settings, so all the facets must be placed by eye, and the quality of the faceting will be determined by the cutter's experience and ability. He begins the cutting process. The customer has requested a modified flower cut, so there are going to be a lot of very small facets all over the stone. All of the cutting is normally done on a 400 grit lap and then taken straight to the polishing lap. In this video, he cuts on an old 600 grit lap because I had it available. Once the facets are placed, he starts the polishing process where he can fine-tune his facet proportions and sizes. Normally, he polishes on a tin or copper lap with low-quality 0 to 5 diamond powder, but today he's using high-quality 0 to 2 powder, and he said it's giving him the results he's used to. Once the crown is done, he transfers the stone by heating up the wax and pulling the stone off the dop. He flips the stone upside down and re-dops it on the same dop with the same wax. He must balance the girdle line by eye so that the stone isn't crooked in the dop. If he doesn't do this perfectly, the pavilion will cut crooked. He begins the faceting process by hand shaping the pavilion to make the shape exactly the way he wants it. He cuts the first row of facets on the 400 lap and then polishes them. He reapplies diamond slurry to his lap, then the rest of the facets will be cut on the polishing lap for total control of the meet points. As he cuts, each facet must be placed perfectly by rotating the stone minutely and subtly adjusting the dop angle to make the correct facet shape. This is extremely hard, and his accuracy is a good demonstration of his ability as a lapidary. He continues up the tiers until all the facets are evenly cut and polished. His final step is to polish the girdle. He does this by hand on a copper lap, though he says at home they use the back of the topper laps to do the girdle because they don't want to risk making grooves in their polishing lap and shortening its life. The final inspection shows that the stone came out beautifully with no cleavage issues and no windowing. The color and the brilliance shine back, making this an incredibly attractive stone. Considering the handpiece that the facets were cut on, the stone looks incredible, though Hizbullah admits that if he used a modern handpiece with indexes and angles, he could make it exactly perfect. At home, he uses the same Sri Lankan faceting base seen here, but he enjoys cutting on his angoora handpiece even though he owns a modern Sri Lankan one. Thanks for watching, and come back for the next episode where we will thoroughly explore the angoora handpiece and the technique that goes with it. Until then, check out our other explorations of faceting history on previous episodes of World of Faceting Machines.